look, let's make this clear. Donald Trump has only one policy. Yes, he does have one policy, but he's changed that one policy at least now it's 3 times. Donald Trump entered the election with one main topic that was of racism against the illegal aliens coming into the country. Donald Trump enunciated his policy several times over the past year. He eviscerated all of his competitors for the Republican nomination by use of that policy. That policy was that he would round up 11 million illegal aliens and deport every last one of them, and he would also build a wall. That's his only policy, okay, immigration. He has no policy about anything else. A policy is not a description of the problem. A policy is a description on the solution that you are enunciating to the problem. That is what a policy is. All right, I'm going to play this clip from MSNBC where Sean Spicer, who is the communications director for the RNC, is going to get into a back and forth with Stephanie Ruhl here. And she's going to consistently ask him for Donald Trump's policies. And he is never going to answer, and he can't because Donald Trump doesn't have any policies. Here we go.
Breaking news. Hillary Clinton speaking exclusively to MSNBC just moments ago. We've got our team of reporters and correspondents covering all of these breaking developments. I want to first, though, get reaction from Republicans with RNC Communications Director Sean Spicer standing by with his take. But first, I want to get a quick look at the key moments of Hillary Clinton's interview on Morning Joe, where she unleashed fierce reaction to Donald Trump's latest attacks against her and a whole lot more. Take a look.
All I can do is point to the evidence of what he has said and what he has done, and from the start, he has built his campaign on prejudice and paranoia, and it's deeply disturbing that he is taking hate groups that lived in the dark regions of the internet, making them mainstream, helping a radical fringe take over the Republican Party. He's questioned the citizenship of President Obama. He has a disturbing pattern of courting white supremacists. He's been sued for housing discrimination against communities of color. He's attacked a judge for his Mexican heritage. He's promised a mass deportation force. And what I want to make clear is this. A man with a long history of racial discrimination who traffics in dark conspiracy theories drawn from the pages of supermarket tabloids and these kind of white supremacist, white nationalist, anti-Semitic groups should never run our government or command our military. If he doesn't respect all Americans, how can he serve all Americans?
All right, I want to get right to MSNBC political correspondent Casey Hunt. Casey, you've been covering the Clinton campaign for months. What's the biggest takeaway from this interview?
Well, first of all, I think...
Sorry about that. I want to jump directly to Sean Spicer. Here we go.
I want to bring in Sean Spicer and really get his reaction to this. He's the communications director of the RNC. Sean, first, I want to say thank you. Clearly, you're in the hot seat. This is not the easiest. It's not the easiest interview for you to react to. But you listened to it. You heard Hillary Clinton detail essentially the reasons why one could say Donald Trump's a racist. What do you think about that?
Well, honestly, I think it's somewhat desperate because, look, the Trump campaign is wrapping up probably the most successful second week that it's had this cycle, and Clinton's having the second worst campaign. It started last week when they started having to defend the Iran hostage swap.
Yeah, it's ending up the, actually it's not 2, it's basically 1 and change, because he has stayed on that damn teleprompter And now he's thrown out the bigot card against Hillary Clinton, and everybody's talking about that instead of his shortcomings. So, yeah, I guess you could call it one of the most successful weeks. Now, Sean, also, you can't tie Hillary Clinton to Obama with the pay for hostages. She wasn't Secretary of State at that time, so that's a weak attempt.
Ransom money, and then these allegations of the emails coming out, and more quid pro quo, play for play with the Clinton Foundation. And so she's pivoting, and she's now going to start attacking Donald Trump and making up things. I mean, look at literally how desperate is she? Put an ad yesterday trying to link white supremacists and racists.
Hold on,
this is sort of a new low.
Sean, whether it was a desperate act or not, all those things that she laid out that Donald Trump has said or done, were any of them incorrect?
Well, I think the video that they put out yesterday was unbelievably over the top. I mean, I haven't seen anything like that in 30 years of
But was it incorrect? That's the whole point. And these guys never answer a question. They're constantly pivoting. And he just pivoted. He didn't answer the question. Was the video incorrect? The answer is no, the video was not incorrect.
Politics, and the idea that people don't think that that's unacceptable. I mean, she went out, cherry-picked some people that have attended rallies or are supporting Donald Trump. I mean, I could equally have walked through Philadelphia during the DNC and found a bunch of people that have way outlandish, far left-wing, crazy ideas and done the same thing and made them answer for it, which I think we should probably do as well. I think the idea that they have gone to that level of desperation.
He got pissed off because the Clintons started doing that first, and now you just heard him say that we may have to do that as well.
Shows that they know that the polls are closing, and they know that their stale status quo message isn't resonating with the American people.
You don't think
this is a change election. Hold on, Stephanie. This is a change election, and I know that they are scared because the foundation and their scandals continue to pile up, and they know that that's not the message the American people want. She is hidden from the American people. She doesn't give a press conference.
But you don't think these acts, you don't think her tactic is in line with Donald Trump? Donald Trump called Hillary Clinton a bigot. That's not desperate?
Okay, and look at, but no,
hold on,
you look at what she's called him. It's funny, every time, hold on.
If you're saying that Hillary Clinton is pivoting, I would like you to not pivot. Donald Trump called her a bigot.
I guess I'm not pivoting. What I'm saying is that Hillary Clinton says a lot of things about Donald Trump. She puts out a video associating with outlandish things like the white supremacists and the KKK and tries to take that link. And then everyone says, well, look what Donald Trump says. Well, at some point, someone's got to look at what Hillary Clinton not only said, but what she's done in her record. She is pivoting because she recognizes this foundation is her Achilles heel. This is a weight around them. It is more pay for play. And they realize that they're in trouble.
It is not outlandish to go after Hillary Clinton's health, for Rudy Giuliani to say, Google Hillary Clinton and health. That's not outlandish?
No, what I'm saying is,
Sean, please answer my question. Is that not outlandish?
No, what I'm answering is the fact that how come only Donald Trump and his supporters get held to one standard and everything that Hillary Clinton...
Okay, he didn't answer her question. She said, is that not outlandish? And he jumps automatically attacking Hillary Clinton and I guess the media for not going after her. That is not an answer to the question. These guys never answer a question.
And those people put out is literally washed by the wayside. There is an entire double standard when it comes to the level of attacks. The fact of the matter is that
the AP story, without a doubt, went after Hillary Clinton. She has had one of the worst weeks ever, getting pummeled by the media for the foundation and her emails. So I don't really believe it's fair to say we don't take a look at Hillary. But I want to go back to Donald. He called Hillary Clinton a bigot. With all the things he could go after her for, do you agree with that? He called her a bigot?
Well, I think what his point was is that the...
see, now that's a yes or a no. Now he's trying to explain Trump to us. The same way Dr. Ben Carson tried to explain Trump to us. The same way most of their surrogates try to explain Trump to us. Like, we can't hear what the guy's saying and understand plain English.
Policies that she's supporting. He's out there trying to reach out to African Americans, reach out to all Americans.
That's a lie. He's trying to reach out to African Americans. If he were trying to reach out, he would have accepted the invitations to speak before major African American groups like the NAACP, the Urban League, the National Association of Journalists, etc. He's turned every last single one of them down. So he really doesn't want to speak to black people. Kellyanne Conway, his pollster, basically told him he's dead unless he can get suburban white women back into the fold, and they don't like the fact that he's making racist comments against minorities. And that's exactly why Donald Trump is doing what he's doing.
Tell them about how there's a better way and a better empowerment. And her policies have kept people trapped in poverty, have allowed education standards to fall to the wayside. There's generations of Americans through their policies that have gotten nowhere. And she's attacking him. This is ridiculous.
Then
the fact of the matter is that it's
what
Trump that's out there talking about making America better, lifting people out of poverty, giving them opportunity. That's the reality.
What are his policies then? We know he reached out to the African American community this week, and he was saying things like, you walk outside, you can get shot. What are his actual policies?
No, he actually had a conversation yesterday about small business lending, educational opportunities, and so there was a lot of discussion that's gone on about policies that he's laid out a policy on national security. He's laid out a policy on taxes.
Okay, he's had, yesterday for the first time, he's had conversations, okay? And I honestly believe that was for the first time. Having a conversation is not a policy. He has no policies, okay? He's been in this a year and a half, and he has only one policy, and that's to get rid of 11 million illegal aliens. That is his only policy. That is his claim to fame. Other than that, he's a racist, and now he's trying to tone it down because he knows being a racist, he's never going to be able to win this election. So as far as policies, he has none. I have seen like 10 shows over the last 4 days. Every single one of his surrogates have been asked about policies on economic policy, educational policy, racial policy, policies on the judicial system, mass incarceration. He does not have a policy for any of these things, and Sean Spencer is being disingenuous by trying to tell us that he does. He doesn't, because if he did, these guys would be telling us what it is.
In terms of when he's saying Hillary Clinton is a bigot based on her policies, what, in that same vein, are his policies? We're less than 80 days away from this election. I need to vote. What are his policies in terms of what he's going to do to help people in the inner cities with education, with jobs? What are those policies?
Well, I just enumerated two of them. One is, I mean, he talked extensively yesterday with the group that he had about small business lending.
But what's
and how
the
to
policy?
Make sure the capital
You just said he had a conversation.
Oh, Stephanie, can I answer the question?
You know what?
You're not answering the question. That's the whole point. You need to tell us what the policies are. And even now, after she stops, you're still not going to tell us what the policies are because there aren't any.
Point, you need to let me answer it if you want an answer. Okay, he had a conversation yesterday about access to capital, about making sure, he talked a lot about criminal justice reform, he talked about educational opportunities. So those are three areas that he specifically talked to that group about yesterday, and he's going to continue to talk about. What are Hillary Clinton's policies? Because the ones that she's put forward so far have left every urban area. When you look at our urban areas in this country, whether it's Detroit, Boston, you name it, LA, all run by Democrats, Chicago, for decades. Where's the murder rate the highest? Chicago. Who's it run by?
That's bullshit. The murder rate in Chicago is not the highest in the country, and they always want to push that shit. That's coming from Fox.
Democrats. How long? At least 50 years. It's the Democrat and liberal policies that have trapped urban areas in a sense in a generational level of dependency. It's Donald Trump who's actually giving hope and talking about policies.
And the more we can understand what both candidates' policies are, the more prepared we're going to be to vote in November. I want to talk really, though, just for a moment in terms of his immigration policy. I want to share some sound of what he said this week because at the end of the day, we really want to know where he stands. Take a look.
Okay.
Will that plan include a deportation force?
To be determined.
There's no amnesty, but we work with them.
So if you haven't committed a crime and you've been here for 15 years and you have a family here, you have a job here, will you be deported?
We're going to see what happens once we strengthen up our border. But there's a very good chance the answer could be yes, we're going to see what happens.
I'm not judging it. I just want to know what is it.
Right, so a couple things. One is he's made border security the first and foremost thing. That's something that he's been very, very clear on, unequivocally. He's going to secure the border, build a wall, make sure that we have a system of legal immigration that doesn't allow people to kind of come through a porous border. That's
Okay, number one, that is a policy. He's never going to do it, but that is a policy.
First and foremost, the most important thing here, because I think regardless of the policy, if the border's open and people can just walk right in, it's not going to matter. Second, when it comes to those that are in here, two things. One, he's talked about that it's a very big problem. We have to be fair, firm, and humane. What does that mean? It means we have 11 million people that are in this country not legally. So number one, we have to look at the criminals that are here, make sure that that's the number one priority. Anyone who's committed a crime needs to go immediately.
Obama's already doing that. That is a policy, okay? And those, whatever the number is, those should be part of the 11 million people that he wants to deport. Okay, next.
Second, people who deal with like visa overstays or whatever, they need to move. But he recognizes the depth and breadth of this issue and isn't going to just do it in a soundbite. He's talked about in the next couple of weeks he's going to let a comprehensive plan to do that. But he understands that, so he has been unbelievably consistent on both the border security piece and the recognition that there's 11 million people that need to be dealt with, and that there are subgroups within that. There are some that must go immediately. There's some that are more complicated because of the length that they've been in this country.
No,
or their
no, that's not what he said. He said everybody's got to go. That's exactly what he said. He said he was going to have his deportation teams round up 11 million people and get them all out of the country. So you're spinning, okay? He's flip-flopping on this. He never said that they were going to look at people on a case-by-case basis. He said everybody had to go, and then maybe they could come back. That's what he said.
Families, and they need to be dealt with humanely. But he's been very clear that everybody must leave the country, then they can come back, and once they've gone back and address the overstays that they've had.
So to be clear,
as for
the 11 million go, they all have to go, and then the good ones can come back. That's where he stands?
That's what he said last night, yes.
I want to go back just for a moment. It is aggressive, not just Donald calling her a bigot. Essentially, Hillary Clinton pointing to many things he said or done and calling him a racist. A lot of people have been shocked by it. One thing that stands out, we haven't seen prominent Republicans stand up and defend him in the last 24 hours. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I mean, Congress is in recess. It's August. There's a lot of reasons, and I know that the press is looking at it, but how many people are out there piling on for Hillary? I mean, again, it's always...
That wasn't a question, again, and now he's acting like all of the senators and House of Representative people don't have access to the media at the drop of a hat. I call bullshit.
We always have to prove something. I think there are plenty of people who were out on television yesterday. There were things on Twitter that were going on social media. So I think that when people want to look for a problem in the media, they tend to find it. But again, I think that we're held to a double standard. I didn't see a ton of people coming out yesterday and saying, Hillary's right, Donald Trump's a racist. This was ridiculous. She was over the top. She knows that she's desperate. She knows she's up against, that the polls are closing, that the race is tightening in the final 73 days, and she's going to throw everything at the wall. I was a little shocked that they went this negative that early. But again, I think that when they've realized that we've continued to have 2 really good weeks and the number of weeks that they've had very poorly, I get it, that they had to go this negative that quickly.
But I mean, Paul Ryan, John McCain. John McCain is in the middle of a race himself. One could make the argument he should stand up and stand behind Donald Trump and say, my candidate is absolutely not a racist. For Republicans out there, I'm guessing it would be concerning. What does the party think if they're not getting behind him when Hillary Clinton comes after him so strong?
Well, one could
or
also
aggressive. Sorry, I don't mean strong. I mean aggressively.
Right, but again, I think one could also point out that, as you noted, John McCain has a race, and he's focused on getting back to the Senate to serve the people of Arizona again. So one could also equally assume that. Look, we're out there. You and I are talking about this. I think you did see a lot of traffic and pushback against this yesterday. So I think to say that there wasn't pushback is a bit over the top, and I think you're going to continue to see more.
I got to ask you, before we go, you're a communications guy, a strategy guy. First, do you think Hillary Clinton, not policies, do you think Hillary Clinton's a bigot?
No, I mean, I think some of the policies that she...
He answered the question, he said no, and he ran through that real quick, and then now he's going to spin.
Supportive have not helped the African American, but I think anybody who knows me, I just don't tend to use certain words. But again, I'm not, so I don't, that's not something that I might personally say no.
If you were advising Mr. Trump, is that even a smart attack on Hillary? I mean, she's a candidate that we know has many unlikable features. Why go after saying she's a bigot? Many people have said it just doesn't make sense.
Well, I think he looks at that's up for him. He's running for president of the United States. I personally believe that Donald Trump, offers vision for this country. Hillary Clinton, frankly, you know what you're getting with her. She's a C-level player. Your dreams and your aspirations in this country aren't ever going to be achieved, right? You know that it's going to be the status quo. There's not a lot to go. I think Trump offers America a better vision. He's not going to put up with a government that doesn't serve the people. And I think he offers a level of vision and change that this country is yearning for. And I think that that's where a message that I think could really win for us.
All right, well, both candidates have their work cut out for them. So do you. Sean, I apologize for interrupting you earlier. Clearly, this is a very heated time.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Sean Spicer from the RNC. All right,
now let me tell you why Trump used the word bigot. Bigot is a highly charged word. When people hear the word bigot, their ears perk up. It draws your attention. When Trump first called Hillary Clinton a bigot, there are clips of him doing it. And in some of those clips, you can see a woman that was seated behind the podium. And when he said the word bigot, you can see the expression on her face radically change. It's called shock. Trump is trying to take advantage of the shock value of the word bigot. Notice Clinton never uses it. She barely wants to even call him a racist. But when you say the word bigot, you get everybody's attention. These Republicans, they got a tough way to go in trying to defend Donald Trump. And to be honest with you, I don't feel for him, but I could see the pain look on their faces when they try to do it.